Hello everyone. So here I am in my kitchen. I'm about to make a healthy version of a taco casserole, which I am super duper excited about, and I will be sharing that recipe eventually. The problem with my sharing recipes, and I'll just share this real quick, is that when I recreate things, I do it a lot of times without measuring because that's just kind of how I cook. I always love to cook. So when I share things, I have to actually like remake it, figure it out, write it down as I'm doing it, and actually measure. So it's just something that takes a lot of time for me, and I'm kind of a wing it kind of girl. So that recipe will be coming. But as I was making this today, the first step of pretty much everything I cook is chopping onions. I put onions and garlic and everything. I'm Italian, it's what we do. So I wanted to share with you some tips I learned about how to chop an onion or dice an onion. It's really very simple, and it's something I picked up, believe it or not, at a local wine store that when I lived in Brooklyn. This is the kind of things you learn in Brooklyn. I lived above a local wine store. And they were awesome. And they would have these wine classes, and they would teach you things. And one of the things at a wine/cooking class, and they taught us how to chop an onion. Don't worry, they didn't let us chop the onion because we were drinking while they were doing it, and I'm sure they didn't want that lawsuit on their hands. But, so here we go. So I'm just going to put this camera down so you can see what I'm doing more closely. Here we go. So here's my onion, here's my knife, here's my cutting board. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you chop an onion is you want to, see there's two ends. There's like the end where the root is, and there's the other end. The other end you can just chop straight off. No big deal. And then what I do here is, what you want to do, I don't peel it until I cut it in half. What you want to do is you want to cut it just to get this very gross edge off, but you want to leave a bit of that root on there because that's going to hold it together while you slice it. You'll see in a little bit. But so here's what you do. So you just want to slice just the grossness off. And if you don't cut it close enough, you know, you can always go in there and fix it. It's not, you're not really using this part of the onion when you do it anyways, when you end up with it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So what you do then, is that now I have two flat edges, I just slice it straight down like this. I find, whoops, as I throw it around, I find it's easier to peel when you already have it sliced like that. So now I'm just peeling it. Okay. So here's what you do. Now you've got half an onion here. You've got this half that you cut straight off. That was the not gross root end. And you've got this, which is the gross root end. You see how there's a little nub in there? That's what you want. So when you're cutting into it, you want to not cut this off by any means. So you're going to come close to the edge, but you're not going to cut through. So because I'm right-handed, and because the camera's on this side, you're going to see the slicing, but I'm going to turn this around so that this edge here is behind me on the back. Let me adjust the camera so you can see better. Okay, so you see now this edge is back here. So you're going to cut three ways. You're going to cut into it lengthwise, then you're going to cut into it, you know, this way, and then you're going to cut this way. So I'll show you how to do it. I just wanted to give you a little overview. Whoops. So I took right away. My previous onions are burning. We gotta turn this down. Don't burn the onions, Julie. Sometimes it makes for some delicious flavor. Okay. So for this, so what I first do is I first cut into it this way, like lines this way. So you want to cut them, you know, almost all the way, but then you stop. I'll do it this way so you can see better. But you stop. Here's the nubbin that you left on there. Same thing. You go down a little bit, you cut straight across, stop before you get to the nubbin. Now, I am the kind of person that hurts myself all the time. So I have to be careful, and so should you. Don't put your fingers here, because if you slip through, that's what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. You're going to cut your finger. I've done that. So I like to hold it on top like this when I'm doing this way. So you cut, take a little bit down, almost, but not all the way through. A little bit down, almost not all the way through. It down, almost not all the way through. Same thing. Alright, one sec. Let me just show you something on my wall. I'll be right back. Take a look at that gorgeous onion. It's a little bit of the way down here. I will be right back. Maybe I should sing you a little ditty while you're waiting for me to come back. I just realized that, hi, I'm still here. I just realized that the people who are on my regular page probably don't get to see this unless I share it. So that's what I'm going to do, I'm going to share it. Maybe, if it will let me. Okay, just kidding, my computer's going to bug out, so I won't be sharing it live. Okay, so here we go. So now what I've done is, you know, as I said before, we cut off the one end and we cut off the nice end and left a nubbin on the other end, then we peeled it. So then I turned it around and we made the slices this way, almost to the end but not all the way through while holding it down on top. Next thing you do is you turn it so that now the slices that you made are this way. Now you're going to slice it across this way. So the nubbin that you left on there is going to be in the back. You're just not going to bring the knife all the way to the end. You're not going to cut it like this. You're going to cut it just almost all the way through. And you can decide how big or little you want it. So I'm not very exact in my cooking, which is also, as I explain later, why I usually cut it like this all the way through. See? And now you've got it cut this way, and you've got it cut this way, and it's still attached here. Okay? So now you turn it one more time. And then, now this cut is the last cut. So now this right here, I've got to cut this way, I've got to cut this way. This, you just keep turning it. This nubbin is now going to be back where you started on the left-hand side. And this is my right-hand side. And I'm just going to slice straight down, all the way through. Because now, it's just going to be diced. When you start doing this, you get really fast at it. I'm just doing it slow so you can see. But there you go, right into the pan. So, what was I saying? That I got distracted by myself. So, you know, you start doing this, it seems a little scary, but it makes it actually quicker than a lot of ways that you can cut onions, and you don't hurt yourself, and it comes out nice and diced. So I like to call my cooking rustic, which is just a word that I basically use to say it's, messy. Like, I don't cut things exactly, I don't measure, which is why I cook and I don't bake. I'm not really a baker, I don't like measuring. I'd rather like get the idea of something and jump right into it and then make my mistakes and learn from that. That's how I approach life, it's how I approach cooking, I'm passionate about it, it's just what I'm into. So if you, you know, are okay with that, then that's just how it is. I mean, you can get more exact in the way that you put the knife cuts in, but at the end of the day, is anybody to notice the different sizes of your onions after they're sauteed and mixed in with a whole bunch of other things? Like, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes I have big chunks of things, sometimes I have small chunks of things. I just call it rustic, and then it sounds right. Like I meant to do it, and I did. So here you go. So I'm going to do this one more time, just so that everybody can see it. Let's see if it'll let me do it now. Of course, now my computer's not working. Come on. Ay, ay, ay. No. Okay, it's not gonna let me do it. So, c'est la vie. We will keep it right here. So, we are just going to, so I've got the other half of this, and I only peel it after I cut it the first time. Oh, why that's not working? That'll make me crazy. So again, here we go. I'm going to do this one more time so that you can get the big idea of it. So, this is the back. Alright, well, technology, what can you do? So this is the back here where the nubbin is that we left. So then that is going to be on the opposite side. Let me put this back down so you can see better. You can see what I just did. Okay, that is going to be on the opposite side as you slice. So the first slice is going to be this way. Not all the way through, because you want to leave that there. It's going to hold it together. So you start a little bit here, and then you move a little bit down. And listen, if you want a bigger dice, then you keep the cuts further apart. If you want a smaller dice, you keep the cuts closer together. It's really however you want to do it. So the next step is that you turn it this way, 90 degrees, or is that 90 degrees? Yeah, it's 90 degrees, with the nubbin in the back. I'm just going to call it the nubbin because I don't have a better word for it. And now you're going to cut this way. So you cut down, but not all the way through to the back. straight down, all the way to the end. Okay, now you turn it back the same 90 degrees you just came, so that the nubbin is now on the other side again. And you cut straight down this way. Straight down. Now the other thing is that when you're cutting onions, you don't want to cut them, you don't want to saw. Because what happens when you saw is that you break the molecular, wow, I'm sounding so nerdy right here. You're breaking the cellular structure down, and that's what's going to release all of that nasty onion juice into the air that makes your eyes water. So one of the best ways to keep your eyes watering, and mine always do, the only way that mine don't water is if I'm wearing contacts, but one of the best ways that you can prevent it while you're cutting, don't saw, have a nice sharp knife, make one cut, and if you're going in that direction, just go in that direction all the way through. Just follow through, because then your knife is doing the work. Otherwise, if you're sawing or if you're putting pressure, then you're just breaking the cells and spitting all this stuff into the air. So you just want to go one direction, whether it's forward or back, it doesn't really matter. One direction, one direction, one direction. So this is the last piece right here. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to cut myself on camera. So that's that. So now you have all this onion. It's good to go. Better than hunking out the big food processor is all I have to say. So that's it. That is my lesson on how to cut an onion. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I will answer them. Otherwise, have a great day. Happy cooking. Happy meal prep.